Hi, Fresh Baked. David here with an update on construction projects going on around the Disneyland Resort. And we're going to get right to it, starting in downtown Disney, where we saw construction walls go up around the AMC Theater area last week. But with not a lot to observe, it's early on, or it had been early on. Since then, they prettied up the walls. I mean, there's some definite demo going on here at the Starbucks Express. They're taking that facade down. Some of the signage was removed on the building facades. Saw some guys carefully unscrewing some light bulbs on the lighting fixtures. But then Tuesday afternoon, we found this construction worker taking a torch to the AMC Theater overhang. And it appears, little by little,
Oh god, see? Okay, did you guys hear it? Did you guys hear it? Okay.
cutting pieces off that metal structure. So in the category of downtown Disney demo, here we go. It has begun. To what extent it's going to be demoed is left unknown still at this point, but that overhang, that steel overhang is certainly on its way out. We've also got this quick clip from Fresh Baked Street Teamer Matt. This is from the drop-off pickup area, the valet area at the Grand Californian. And that looks like an excavator, I think, presumably to dig up concrete. I couldn't hear it in the video myself, but Matt said you could, on the ground when he was there, you could hear the sound of concrete breaking. Now, for some perspective, here's an overhead to see where this work is most likely taking place. Here's the Grand and the valet drop-off area. Pretty sure this is the hedgerow the camera is looking over and past. And I think we're looking at the corner of the AMC building. Where this video that looks like the corner of the AMC building. So we're talking about this area here in the overhead shot. And right here, by the way, is where we first saw those trees being removed. So a little context, if you will. Personally, I love this kind of stuff. So I'm grateful for that shot and for the ability to give it a little bit more insight. We're going to stay in downtown Disney for our next update, and that's on the tram path. The paving project that we've been watching them do. They recently finished. Or at least that's what I thought it was. I thought it was a repaving project. But now it appears the true purpose of this project was to install whatever it is that's underneath the pavement in that circle. Actually, what is installed are sensors, or vehicle induction loops in industry terms. Their purpose is to detect vehicles passing over them. Most likely, these were installed to help improve efficiency with the tram traffic, because they can let cast know when a tram has either arrived at or leaving that particular spot. And what this could do is possibly allow them to run more trams at the same time, more than they used to anyway. This would allow them to cycle more guests at the Pixar parking structure, which can get intense at times. And they've got a number of them. They've got a bunch of trams. So having the ability to run more than just 2 or 3 at a time like they've been doing in the past, if I recall, it would be nice to be able to run more of those. So perhaps that's what this is for. We'll go in the park next to Toontown, where I caught an interesting development on Saturday. We've been keeping our focus on the entrance to Runaway Railway for the most part, watching that construction happen. But the other day, I found these two guys installing this huge blue sheet of something to the show building. And these blue sheets, they would be lifted, then dropped into place whole, and then fastened to that steel that is itself fastened to the show building. So it's like, it's the show building, then the steel, and then this blue wall, this blue sheet. And you can see a bunch of them in a row there, stacked vertically. The assumption, of course, is that they'll be applying future background to Toontown there. The rolling green hills, etc., just like we've seen in the past. Also new are those snow-capped mountain peaks attached to the top of the building. These, as I understand it, are concrete, and they're probably they're a little bland at the moment, a little just plain white, so I'm sure they're going to give them a little more detail and a little more texture in the future. Let's go next to Fantasyland, where construction walls and scaffolding have gone up around the Royal Theater at the Princess Fantasy Faire. We reported on this on our website earlier this week, but haven't had a chance to mention it yet in a construction progress. My first thought when I saw this was that they were going to restore the Royal Theater to its intended use. Before the walls went up, they were using this space as a princess meet and greet because the princesses were kicked out of their usual spot, the Royal Hall. And it does sound like this is in fact what they're up to. I've been advised that they are updating the Royal Theater to return it to a theater, its original intended use, which I think is mostly, they got to put the benches back and then probably giving it a little TLC where it needs it. That's the purpose of the scaffolding there, is likely for paint and for cleanup, that kind of thing. Not sure how long the refurb will be. However, I don't think the princess meet and greets will be returning to Royal Hall. For now, at least, the princesses and the villains, for that matter, and the princes, if they show up, will be meeting in the common area of Fantasy Fair. There's still no change that I'm aware of to Disney's current policy of meetups being outdoor only and socially distanced only. This is really, it's the only remnant of those severe COVID restrictions we saw when the parks first opened. I can say, though, that they are at least thinking about it. I took a survey recently and was asked if I preferred or if I had expected to be able to hug Mickey when I met him. They want to know if that's important to us. So it's at least on their mind, and it's a direction they're heading, I think. By the way, before we leave Disneyland, we mentioned in a video, a separate video, a news video about Pirates of the Caribbean. It's going down for an extended refurb on March 14th. And while we're not sure exactly what that refurb is for, as we understand it, it's mostly technical stuff and maybe a little bit of cosmetic work. But one of the things that they're doing while Pirates is going to be closed is removing these two trees in the courtyard. Again, we mentioned this in a news video or news update before, but I wanted to mention it again here in this construction update. It is our understanding that these two trees are sick and they're unable to save them. They cannot be saved. So they're going to have to remove them because that's necessary. When a tree gets sick like that and is dying, you have to remove them. Otherwise, it spoils everything. I don't know what their plans are for the courtyard. Obviously, without those trees, guests will be exposed to direct sunlight, which is never a good thing. So it's likely that we may see, at least on a temporary basis, maybe a canopy or something like that, maybe some just giant umbrellas. I'm not sure. I don't know if their plan is to replace them with new trees. They replaced a tree, or I should say they removed a tree at the Haunted Mansion during the shutdown, but that tree did not get replaced. So I can't say for sure if that's something that they would be doing for Pirates. But do look for those trees to be removed sometime after March 14th. Okay, let's cross the Esplanade next and go to Hollywood Boulevard in California Adventure. A few weeks ago, some walls popped up in front of that last building on the left. No scrim, though. Those walls came down today, revealing pretty much the same scene, I think. I actually had a heck of a time getting any reference photos, as this is not a place that gets photographed very often. But this photo is from 2013, and I have to say it looks mostly the same to me. The canopies over the windows look more faded compared to the new shot, but otherwise it looks the same. Actually, I'm not even sure that what they were doing here is even cosmetic in nature. It's very possible whatever it is that they were doing is not guest-facing at all. Nothing we'd even notice. In fact, that reconciles with the fact that what we saw before was just walls. There was no scrim. There was no scaffolding, so they certainly weren't trying to paint anything. We would have seen something like that if that's what they were doing. My guess is that it was something on the ground. Whatever it is that they did do, they may be doing it here now as well. Walls have popped up in front of Gone Hollywood and the Disney Junior building. So again, my assumption is that whatever it is that they're doing is probably below ground and not at all related to the guest experience directly. We'll head next to Grizzly River Run, which is currently down for a seasonal refurb, much like they do for Splash Mountain every year. Haven't really been able to spot anything observable, something to point at, though you can see there's maintenance guys in that area all the time. In fact, we found this guy, and I'm pretty sure he's holding a big can of propane, and I'm pretty sure that big can of propane is for what appears to be some kind of blowtorch. I mean, right? I'm not an expert in this field, to be sure, but that looks like a blowtorch to me. I'd love to know what that's for. Okay, in the department of World of Color readiness, one of the last remaining pieces are those towers in the back there. They were removed a while back, and they hadn't yet been put back. But in the last couple of days, they returned. These are the projectors, I believe, and I think that there's a reasonably good chance those guests staying on this side of the Grand Californian just might see some late-night testing in the near future. shouting that out to all of our potential street teamers out there. Keep your eyes and ears open, man. I have a feeling we're going to be seeing, well, we won't be able to see it, but maybe you guys in the Grand Californian might. A few of those suites have a view of that bay, and you can see. I would say they do it after hours, after midnight, obviously. Or, well, actually, it could just, the park closes at 10 on most nights right now during the winter. So keep your eyes open, guys. And then finally, over at Emotional Whirlwind, this attraction has been closed for a bit. Not sure what the refurb was for, but I can report that the buckets, they had been removed as of a few days ago, but have also, since then, been returned and reinstalled. In fact, as I look, I think it might be up and running. By the time you watch this video on Wednesday, it could be up and running, as it is off the refurb calendar on the Disneyland website as of February 16th. All right, guys, that'll do it for this week's construction update. Thank you very much to every one of you out there who have helped contribute, sending in photos and video. Your help is so very much appreciated. It's a great help to us. So if you see anything happening in the park that you think we might be interested in, and we're interested in a lot, okay? Never underestimate the kind of stuff that we'll be interested in. But take a picture, get some video, and then send me an email to david@freshbakedisney.com, or you can @ me on Twitter at freshbakedisney. That's fresh with no E. Otherwise, thank you guys again for watching. Follow us on Instagram at _freshbaked, and also on TikTok at freshbakedisney. And if you are a fan of the show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. And oh, by the way, I should mention, look out, the website is back again. We're trying again. Look out. We're posting a lot of, smaller news stories, smaller items, smaller updates on the website, stuff that doesn't really rise to the level of a full video or anything like that. Or, incremental updates like construction stuff. Look for that on freshbakedisney.com. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And fresh baked.